Alright guys, it's spring. How do I know it's spring? Because my convertible Mustang and my Harley are both sitting in the driveway because everybody else is on spring break and they're down here clogging up my roadways, so it's not safe to drive. So we are going to go ahead and work on this 2004 Ford Explorer two-wheel drive, change the oil on it. We got a hold of the guys at trustedoil.com. Love those guys. They hooked us up here. We got the 5W30 Signature Series synthetic. It's good for 25,000 miles with a 25,000 mile oil filter. We have the 100,000 mile air filter, which is good for 4 years. You just vacuum it every year. We're going to go ahead and do the engine and transmission flush in the motor to change out, get all that junk out before we put the good Amsoil in it. We ordered the Amsoil PI fuel injection cleaner. Put that in every 5,000 miles. It keeps the fuel injectors all nice and happy. They actually have access to Trico wiper blades too, so we got those at cost. Saved ourselves a ton of money over the guys at Advanced Auto Parts. And you know, plus we like the guys over at Trusted Oil. They're real nice to us. This right here, this metal protectant, we're going to put that on the door hinges, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then we got the power foam here for cleaning out the combustion chamber, the intake manifold. So this truck is going to get a total clean job and run the good stuff. So once again, give those guys over there at Trusted Oil, give them a holler. They've been real helpful to us, and you know, we like doing business with them, and the other people we do business with too, you know, like Glow Shift and everybody else. They're real good to us. Alright, so you get your oil drain pan out. I know you guys know how to change oil, and this is just the way we do it here. There's two things we're going to do. First, we're going to go ahead and loosen the drain pan bolt, and actually the correct word is break free, and then break free the oil filter. The reason we do that and then tighten them back up is that you don't want to be putting this motor flush in there, because that can't stay in there, and you cannot drive the car with that in there. 5 to 10 minutes, and you got to get it out. So you got to get the oil filter off, and you got to get the drain pan plug out. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we have the ability to do that, because sometimes they're rounded off or just totally stuck on there. I did have a Lexus that took us 3 hours to get the oil filter off because it was behind the exhaust manifold and it had baked itself to the block. So we've learned, loosen them up first and then not worry about it later. So we're going to go ahead and crawl in our truck here and loosen up both those and then tighten them back up so that we know that they are broken free. Alright, we're under the vehicle here. The oil filter is tucked in back here, and it is hand tight, which was amazing that it was that loose. So that's able to take off. The 13mm plug for the drain is right there. This is one of Ford's better ideas of putting it at an angle, so it sprays all over your cross member and your A-frame. Makes a real mess. We have a big funnel we put in there, and sometimes we cut out the half of a milk carton and shove it up there. This is a two-wheel drive unit. My four-wheel drive unit just made a mess all over everything. Oh, it was disgusting. I don't know why Ford does that. So we're going to go ahead and we're topside here. I'm going to take off the oil fill cap, Amsoil motor flush. I don't know, it's like $9 a bottle or something like that, $7, I don't know, who keeps track of that stuff. So the problem I have is getting the damn cap open. These new safety seals are a real nuisance. So we're just going to go ahead and pour that whole bottle into where the oil goes. Good stuff. We're going to start the car and let it run for 15 minutes at a low idle. And this will go through all the oil passageways and the top of the cylinder heads, and you know, everywhere that junk, sludge and garbage will be sitting, and it'll melt it and loosen it up, or I don't know, it'll do something. I'm not an engineer. Helps loosen sticky valves, rings, cleans deposits in oil cooler ports, reduce oil consumption, quiets lifter noise. So that's what it does. We're going to pour the entire bottle in, which we did, run it for 10 to 15 minutes, and then immediately drain. Replace with new oil and new filter. So there it is, the Amsoil engine and transmission flush. We're just doing the motor. We're not doing the tranny. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and pop open the air filter on this Ford. The girl that owns this truck, she's a redneck. She does the country stuff, and she goes out in the woods, and yeah. Not bad, but not good. It's time. So we're gonna throw this away. Check the box. And we'll get the shop vac out and give it a quick vacuum. And we'll make sure you get all the dirt out of it. 2 seconds up front, save you a lot of time in the long run. The old Amsoil EA A484. It's 4 years, 100,000 miles. Look at that bad boy. And like I said, when it gets dirty, you just get the shop vac out and vacuum this. Or you take an air compressor with, like, I think it says 5 to 10 pounds of air pressure and just blow out all the dirt. Because the dirt doesn't actually penetrate this filter. It sits on top. I got a great video on that on the Trusted Oil website, if you go check it out. That's it, air filter's done. Now we're going to go ahead and start the motor and let it run for 5-10 minutes. Oh, here's the old nasty air filter. Still got some life to it, but see how all this just penetrates? That's embedded in that paper. You'll never get that out. With the Amsoil filter, it sits on top of it, and then you can just vacuum it off it. It kind of prevents it from penetrating the paper. Alright, I cannot stress the safety part here. $10 wiper. Change it. On the Ford, it's real simple. You reach in here, there's a little tab. Pull the tab toward the wiper blade, and then the whole unit, just like that, comes right off. Don't let this fall and smash your windshield because it could crack it, so hold on to that. Take your new one, just reverse the process and how you took it off, you put it back on. Try to get my hands out of the way so you can see. And it just slides right in and then it clicks. And there's your new Trico 22-inch wiper blade. These old ones were so flimsy and shot. I mean, these were just, they're junk. It's barely keeping the window clean. And in the Florida rainstorms down here, man, I'll tell you what, you want to have some good wipers on your car. Alright, we got the old oil filter off. And before we put the new Amsoil filter on, there's 2 things you want to do. You want to come up here, take your rag, and you want to wipe off that gasket. Or not the gasket, but the gasket mounting surface. Because you want to make sure that there is A, no dirt there, and B, there is no gasket there. Because if the gasket is stuck there from the old oil filter and you put the new oil filter on with 2 gaskets, you'll have a huge leak. So we got that done. Got the new Amsoil EA oil filter here. Now what we like to do, a little bit of motor oil in this can here. Just kind of makes the gasket seat real nice. Got that installed up in there. What they say is you bottom it out, then you give it a nice 3/4 turn. It's pretty much snuff right there. That's almost 3/4. There's 3/4. Alright, that's it, guys. You don't need to crank down on these things with a torque wrench. I get tons of joy because this is fun. This is where Ford has created a nightmare. Oh, that stuff is nice and toasty too. This is where you get to see how good you are. This is where they put it. I like that little system we created here. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Yummy. Only more a little bit. Didn't wear too much. Camera out. Alright, so we got the oil filter back on, got that tightened up, we got the drain plug back in the motor oil pan, and that is torqued down. Now we're going to put the Amsoil 5W30 Signature Series inside the engine. Make sure you take out your dipstick so it doesn't create a problem with the PCV valve, and basically creates a airflow for the oil going in. Otherwise you'll create a vacuum and the oil could travel up and contaminate the PCV valve system. This truck's good for 25,000 miles now, or 1 year, whatever she comes up on first. The nice part about it is, you know, with where she drives, out in the woods, horse country, have peace of mind with the good oil and the good air filter. Alright, there's 4 quarts. We're going to check the dipstick and then top it off with the last quart. About half a quart low. You go ahead and put that half a quart in. And we're going to start the engine, let it circulate and fill up that oil filter. And then check for leaks, and then we're going to check the fill again, make sure it's at proper fill according to the dipstick. Always go by the dipstick. Little cheat sheets you get on the internet to tell you how many quarts of oil your vehicle holds. Remember, a human being typed them in, and they do make errors, so I always go by what the dipstick says, where it says full is full. Alright, we're running, no leaks, nothing dripping down underneath the car. Oil filter, no drips on the oil drain plug. We'll let this run for about 2 minutes, and we'll come back over and check the dipstick. And like I said, check the fill on it. Drive it around for a couple weeks, and then good habit is once a Sunday check your dipstick. Once a month. Pick a Sunday and check your dipstick. That's just good practice. You should check all your fluids once a month. Alright, that's the Ford oil change. Switched it over to Amsoil. Ordered it from the guys over at trustedoil.com. Got the wiper blades and got the Amsoil 25,000 mile clean or 100,000 mile 4-year air filter. Next thing we're going to do on this, we're going to do a set of plugs and plug wires. And that should solve that little bit of a shake.